My husband found out I cheated. Now he won't stop cheating. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. I'm not even sure I deserve that. I'm telling you this because I used to believe cheating was one mistake, one bad choice, one night that could be buried and forgotten. But betrayal doesn't stay buried. It grows roots. And sometimes, it comes back wearing the face of the person you hurt. My name is Lisa. I'm 31. And this is the story of how I cheated on my husband for 4 months, and how he made me live inside the consequences for more than 6 months. Not with yelling, not with violence, with distance, with lipstick stains, with late nights, with a smile that didn't belong to me anymore. And with the kind of revenge that doesn't end when you say I'm sorry, it ends when you're finally alone. I met my husband Darius when I was 25. He was the kind of man that made life feel calmer just by standing in the room. Not flashy, not loud, but solid. We met at a friend's cookout, and I remember the smell of charcoal and sunscreen, and the way he offered me the last bottle of water like it was a proposal. "You sure?" I asked. He shrugged. "You look like you need it more than I do." It was a small thing, but it told me everything about him. Darius was consistent. He called when he said he would. He showed up early. He listened when I talked like my words were something worth holding. When we started dating, it felt like stepping into a warm house after being outside in the cold too long. We got married fast, maybe too fast, if I'm honest. But it didn't feel rushed at the time. It felt right. The first year of marriage was the kind of happy people post online. Sunday mornings in bed with messy hair and coffee, little notes on the fridge, random kisses while one of us cooked. We weren't rich, but we were building. He worked hard, overtime at his company, extra projects, always trying to make sure we'd have more. And I loved him for that. But somewhere around year 3, the building started feeling like waiting for him to come home, waiting for him to have energy, waiting for date nights that got rescheduled, waiting for the man who used to look at me like I was the only thing in the world to stop looking at his phone every time he sat down. And I know what you're thinking. Then talk to him. I did. I tried. I told him I missed us. I told him I felt lonely even when he was sitting right next to me. He would pull me into his arms and say, "Baby, I'm doing this for us. Just give me time." And I did. I gave him time like it was something I had unlimited amounts of. Until the day I ran into my ex-boyfriend at a housewarming party and realized I still had a wound I never fully closed. It was my friend Kayla's housewarming. New apartment, new couch, new paint smell in the air. Music was loud, people were laughing, cups clinking, someone shouting over the beat about who brought the tequila. I remember standing near the kitchen island, pretending I wasn't bored, scrolling my phone, waiting for Darius to get off work so I could leave early. Then I heard my name. "Lisa?" It wasn't shouted, it wasn't playful, it was surprised. I turned, and my stomach dropped. Malik, my ex, the one I dated before Darius, the one I swore I'd never speak to again, the one that used to make my heart feel like it was sprinting, even when I hated him. He looked different. Not in a dramatic way, just grown. A little more filled out, a little more calm in his eyes. He smiled like he was trying to read my face. "Wow," he said. "It's really you." I couldn't even pretend I didn't recognize him. My throat went tight and I forced a laugh like this was normal. "Yeah," I said. "It's me." Kayla's boyfriend, Andre, came over, slapped Malik on the shoulder like they were cousins. "That's my guy," Andre said. "Y'all know each other?" Malik's eyes stayed on me. "Yeah. We go way back," Andre laughed. "Small world." "Lisa, you want another drink?" I should have said no. I should have walked away. Instead, I said, "Sure," because a part of me, quiet and selfish, liked being seen again. We talked like strangers who remembered the same song. At first, it was safe. "What you been up to? Work, life. You still live on the east side?" "Nah, I moved." He asked if I was seeing anyone, and I told him I was married. That word should have been a wall. Instead, it was just a fact I stated, like it didn't carry weight. He nodded, like he expected it. "Yeah, I figured," he said. "You always wanted something stable." "And you?" I asked, trying to keep it light. "Single," he said. "Just working." Then he leaned in a little, lowering his voice like the party wasn't already loud. "I tried to call you after we broke up," he said. "Text you too. It never went through." My heart kicked. I forced a shrug. "I blocked you at first." His eyebrows lifted. For real? I was mad, I said. And I changed my number. He exhaled like that hurt, but he smiled right after. I ain't gonna lie, he said. I thought you disappeared on purpose. I did, I said, and my laugh sounded fake even to me. He looked at my hand. No ring, because I'd taken it off before the party so I wouldn't lose it while cleaning earlier. I watched his eyes drop to where it should have been, and I watched him pretend not to notice. Can I get your new number? He asked, casual, like it was nothing. That was the moment, the real moment. Because my brain screamed no, but my mouth hesitated, and in that hesitation, I felt how hungry I was to be wanted. I told myself it was harmless, that it was just a number, that I wasn't doing anything wrong by being polite, so I gave it to him. We exchanged numbers while Kayla's living room lights glowed warm and soft, while people danced like the night wasn't full of traps. I stayed a little longer, laughed a little too loud at Malik's jokes, let the conversation feel smooth and friendly, and when I finally left, the air outside was cold enough to bite my cheeks. My car smelled like perfume and party smoke. I drove home with the radio low, telling myself I didn't do anything. Then my phone buzzed. Darius text, you good? You made it? Right after that, Malik text, you busy? I stared at both messages like they were two doors. I meant to reply to my husband first. I swear I did. But my thumb tapped Malik's text without thinking. Nah, I just got home. He replied fast. How you been for real? And just like that, I was in it. Texting turned into a rhythm. Joke, reply, laugh. Then he hit me with that nostalgia. You remember how you used to dance in the kitchen when you cooked? I smiled at my screen like an idiot. Because yes, I remembered. And I remembered how he used to pull me close from behind, how he used to whisper things that made my skin heat up. I sat on my couch with the lamp off, phone light glowing on my face, the room quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. Minutes turned into an hour. Then 2. I didn't even notice I never answered my husband until I heard the key in the lock. My whole body snapped awake. I threw my phone down on the couch like it was hot, jumped up, and met Darius at the door like a perfect wife. I hugged him so tight he had to laugh. Dang, he said. I missed you too. I kissed him, too fast, too eager, trying to cover my guilt with affection. He pulled back and looked at me. Why you didn't reply? He asked. My heart hammered. I forced my face smooth. You text me? He stared for a second like he didn't believe me. Then he exhaled. Maybe my message didn't go through. He didn't argue. That's the thing about Darius. He wasn't the type to explode. He was the type to store pain somewhere quiet. He asked about my day. He listened. He took a shower, ate, and went straight to bed. And me? I waited until his breathing got deep. Then I picked up my phone like a thief in my own house. And I texted Malik again. That was how it started. Not with sex, with silence, with phone light in the dark, with me choosing someone else's attention over my husband's trust. For the next 2 or 3 weeks, Malik and I texted nonstop. Good morning, good night, little inside jokes. He'd send me selfies from his car, that half smile like he knew exactly what he was doing. He'd say things like, you still got that laugh I used to love. And I'd pretend it didn't affect me. I started hiding my phone when Darius walked into the room. I started turning the brightness down. I started taking my ring off more often like it was optional. And Malik got bolder. One night he texted, let me take you out. Just to catch up. I stared at it for a long time. My chest felt tight. I could hear Darius in the shower, water running, steam fogging up the bathroom mirror. I should have deleted it. Instead I typed, I'm married. Malik replied, I know. I'm not asking you to leave him, I just miss you. That sentence should have made me block him again. Instead, it made me feel powerful, wanted, like I still mattered. I told him no at first. Then he asked again a few days later, then again. And every time he asked, it got easier to consider. Until one Friday, after a week where Darius worked overtime 4 nights straight, came home exhausted, kissed my forehead like I was furniture, and passed out. I said yes. I told Darius I was going out with Kayla. I even sent Kayla a text first like, if he asks, just cover me. She replied with a laughing emoji like it was a joke. I put on a dress I hadn't worn in 2 years. I did my makeup slow, careful, like I was preparing for something important. The mirror showed me a woman I didn't recognize. Not because I looked different, Because my eyes did. There was excitement there, and shame right under it. Malik picked me up, and the second I got in his car, the smell hit me, his cologne, warm and familiar. He looked at me like he'd been waiting for this moment. "You look good," he said. I tried to act casual. "Stop, I'm serious," he said. "You always been beautiful." We went to a little bar with dim lights and loud music. We drank, we laughed. We talked about the old days like we didn't end for a reason. He told me about how he'd been working, how he'd been alone. I told him about my marriage, and I left out the parts that would have made me look guilty. I kept it simple. "We were happy in the beginning," I said. "But now, I don't know. I feel like I'm always waiting." Malik leaned closer. "You shouldn't be waiting, Lisa." The words slid under my skin. I got tipsy, not falling down drunk, just loose enough to stop thinking. He offered to take me home. I should have said yes. Instead, when he said, "You want to come back to my place for a little, just talk?" I nodded. His apartment was clean, quiet, and smelled like laundry detergent and candles. No photos, no family, no signs of a life shared with anyone. That should have told me something too. We sat on his couch closer than we needed to. We talked about the breakup, why we ended. I told him he used to be immature. He laughed. "And you used to think you could fix me." I smiled, but it hurt. He looked at me for a long time. Then he reached out, tucked a piece of hair behind my ear. That touch, small and gentle, made my stomach flip. My mind told me to stand up, to say, "I'm married," to run. But my body didn't move. Instead, I leaned in like I'd been waiting too. He kissed me. At first, it was slow, like a question. Then it wasn't a question anymore. It was heat, it was hands, it was the sound of my own breath getting faster. I pulled back for half a second, whispering, "We shouldn't." He said my name like a promise. And I let myself fall. We didn't stop at a kiss, we went all in. And the worst part? In the moment, I didn't even feel like a villain. I felt alive. After, I sat on the edge of his bed with my dress pulled back into place, staring at the floor like it might open up and swallow me. My skin felt too tight. My chest felt heavy. Malik kissed my shoulder. "I missed you." I didn't say it back. I couldn't. I drove home with the windows cracked even though it was cold, trying to air the guilt out of my body. When I walked into my house, Darius was sitting on the couch watching TV, the blue light flickering across his face. He looked so normal, so safe, so unaware. "Hey," he said, smiling a little. "You had fun?" I froze in the doorway for half a second. My mouth went dry. "Yeah," I said. "It was cool." He patted the seat next to him. "Come here." I sat, stiff as a statue. He put his arm around me, and I wanted to confess right then. I wanted to collapse into his chest and tell him I ruined us. But fear wrapped around my throat like a hand, because I didn't just fear losing him, I feared being seen, the real me. So I stayed quiet. That night, when he fell asleep, I stared at the ceiling, listening to his breathing, feeling like the bed was too big and too small at the same time. And I promised myself it would never happen again. I meant it. I really did. But promises don't mean anything when you keep walking back to the same fire. A few days later, Malik texted, "I can't stop thinking about you." I didn't reply for an hour, then I did, and that became the pattern: texting, sneaking, lying, then meeting again. The affair lasted 4 months. 4 months of me splitting myself into 2 women, the wife who cooked dinner, kissed her husband, folded his work clothes, and the other woman, phone glowing in the dark, heart racing at a name that wasn't hers to chase. Malik would send me pictures, not just selfies. At first it was harmless. Then it turned into flirty pictures, then into nudes, then into messages so explicit I couldn't believe I was typing them. I started hiding my phone more. I started turning off notifications. I started taking sleeping pills because the guilt kept me awake, and I kept telling myself I'd stop. After this week, after this one last time, after he stops texting me first. I said anything to make myself feel like I wasn't choosing it, but I was. Then came the night everything ended. I was exhausted. My body felt heavy like someone filled me with sand. I took sleeping pills more than I should have, because I hadn't slept right in weeks. My phone started buzzing, over and over, vibrating on the nightstand like a warning. But I was too tired to even open my eyes. Darius was next to me. Still, quiet. I didn't know when he woke up. I didn't know when he reached over. I didn't know when he picked up my phone. But while I slept, my whole secret life opened in his hands. Nude photos, explicit messages, Malik's name lighting up the screen like a spotlight, and my husband, my steady, calm, loyal husband, reading every word. He didn't wake me up. That's what scares me most, because if he had screamed, at least it would have been a fight. But he stayed silent, and silence is where revenge grows. When I woke up, the house felt wrong. Too quiet. No morning sounds, no clinking dishes, no shower running. I sat up and saw Darius's side of the bed empty. My stomach tightened. I walked into the living room, rubbing my eyes, still groggy. And there he was, sitting on the couch, my phone in his hand. His face looked blank, like someone turned the lights off behind his eyes. I stopped walking. My heart started pounding so loud it felt like it filled the room. He looked up at me slowly. "Who is Malik?" he asked. The way he said it, quiet, controlled, made my knees go weak. My mouth opened but nothing came out. He held up the phone like evidence. "I saw the pictures," he said. "I saw what you've been sending. I saw what you've been doing." I tried to speak, tried to lie, tried to grab onto anything that would save me. But the truth was sitting right there in his hands. I sat down on the edge of the chair across from him, trembling. "It's not," I started. He cut me off, still calm. "Don't." My eyes burned. Tears rose fast. I swallowed hard. "It's my ex," I whispered. Darius's jaw tightened. "How long?" he asked. I stared at the floor. My throat felt like it was closing. "Lisa," he said, voice slightly sharper now. "How long?" "4 months," I said, and the words tasted like poison. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling for a long time. The TV was off, but the silence felt loud anyway. Then he looked at me again. "Why?" he asked, and I could have given him the real answer. Loneliness, insecurity, selfishness. But in that moment, I only had panic. "I don't know," I cried. "I don't know, I swear. It was stupid. It didn't mean..." He stood up suddenly, and I flinched like he was going to hit something. He didn't. He just walked to the kitchen, paced, came back, hands on his head. His breathing was heavy. I ran to him, grabbed his arm. "Please," I begged. "Please don't leave me." He looked down at my hands on him like they disgusted him. I let go. "I'll do anything," I sobbed. "Anything. I'll block him. I'll change my number. I'll go to counseling. You can do anything you want to me. You can hit me. You can call me names. Anything to make this right. Darius, please." He laughed once. Not happy, not amused, just hollow. "You already changed your number once, didn't you?" he said. That hit me like a slap. I started crying harder. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I'm sorry, Darius. I swear I'm sorry." He stared at me for a long time. Then he said the words that changed everything. "I'm not leaving you." Relief flooded me so hard I almost collapsed. I stepped toward him, but his next sentence froze me. "But I'm gonna do what you did?" I blinked. "What?" He nodded, slow. "You want to make it even, right?" I choked. I was just... "No," he said, calm again. "You said anything." I grabbed his shirt. "Darius, please, no, that's not what I meant. I just wanted you to stay." He pushed my hands away gently, like moving a child's hands off something sharp. "You wanted me to stay," he repeated. "So did I." My whole body started shaking. This wasn't forgiveness. This was a deal with the devil, and I signed it without reading. I texted Malik immediately and told him that we should keep our distance. "Please do not contact me anymore because I'm married and I love my husband." I didn't wait for him to reply to my text. I just blocked and deleted his number. The first week after that felt like walking on broken glass. Darius still came home, still ate the dinner I cooked, still slept in the same bed. But he didn't touch me. He didn't kiss me. His eyes didn't soften when he looked at me. It was like my husband's body was there. But the man I married had already walked out. Then it started. At first it was small. He'd sit on the couch with his phone, smiling at the screen like he was watching something funny. I'd ask, "Who you texting?" He wouldn't look up. "None of your business," he'd say. The first time he said it, I felt my face burn. I wanted to scream, "I'm your wife." But my throat closed because I remembered how many times Malik's name had glowed on my screen. Darius started coming home later, not overtime late, choice late. He'd walk in smelling like a different soap, a different perfume clinging to him like smoke. He'd toss his keys on the counter, humming, like he had a secret song in his head. I'd stand there in my pajamas, heart pounding, trying to keep my voice steady. "Where you been?" He'd shrug. "Out. With who?" He'd smile a little. "Don't worry about it." The first time I saw lipstick on his collar, I thought my eyes were lying. It was a faint smear of red, like someone's mouth had brushed him in a hurry. I stared at it while he took off his shoes. My hands were shaking. "What is that?" I whispered. He looked down, then back up at me. And the smile he gave me wasn't cruel. It was worse, it was casual. "Lipstick," he said. My stomach dropped. I couldn't even finish. He walked past me like I was air. That night I tried to touch him in bed. I slid my hand across his chest, kissed his shoulder, tried to remind him of us. He rolled away. "I'm tired," he said. I lay there staring into the dark, hearing his breathing, feeling the space between us like an ocean. The next day, he joined a gym. He started going after work. He bought new cologne, something expensive, sharp, masculine. He started wearing fitted shirts, dressing like he cared again. And he wasn't doing it for me. That's what killed me. My husband was becoming more attractive right in front of my eyes, for someone else. Every time he came home, he looked better. Shoulders broader, skin glowing, hair lined up, like he was rebuilding himself. Without me. I tried everything. I cooked his favorite meals. I wore lingerie. I planned date nights. I wrote apology letters. I begged. I cried until my eyes were swollen. I even showed up at his job one day with lunch, hoping to catch him in a moment where he remembered he loved me. He looked surprised to see me. Not happy, just surprised. "What you doing here?" he asked, taking the bag like it was a package. "I just wanted to do something nice," I said, forcing a smile. His coworkers glanced over. He leaned in, voice low. "Don't do this." My smile cracked. "Do what?" "Act like we normal," he said. "We're not." I stood there feeling stupid, embarrassed, exposed. He walked back inside without kissing me goodbye. And that's when I started losing my mind, because guilt is one thing, but watching the person you hurt turn into a stranger, that's a different kind of punishment. I started stalking him. At first I told myself it was checking, just making sure he was safe. But it wasn't that. It was desperation. It started with his location, except he didn't share it with me, so I made my own. I waited up at night listening for his car. I watched from the window like a ghost. When he left for the gym, I'd sometimes drive by and see his car parked outside. Then I'd sit in my own car across the street, heart racing, watching people come and go. I did that. Me, a grown woman, married 5 years, sitting in a parking lot like a detective, like a clown. One night he didn't come home until almost 2 a.m. I sat on the couch with all the lights off, phone in my hand, calling him over and over. No answer. Every time it rang, my chest tightened. When the lock finally clicked, I stood up so fast my knees almost buckled. He walked in, calm, smelling like alcohol and perfume. I stared at him. "Where were you?" I demanded. He looked at me like I was annoying. "Out. With who?" He shrugged out of his jacket. "Somebody." My eyes filled with tears instantly. "You doing this to hurt me," I whispered. He paused, looked at me for a long second. Then he said, "No. I'm doing this because I can." That sentence ruined me. I started checking his shirts for stains, smelling his neck when he came home, watching his back for scratches, for anything that proved what I already knew. Then he changed his phone password, right in front of me. I saw him do it. Thumb moving across the screen, quick and deliberate. I swallowed hard. "You changed it?" He didn't even deny it. "Yeah, why?" My voice cracked. He looked up, eyes cold. "Why you think?" I couldn't breathe. I wanted to take it back. All of it. The party, the number, the first kiss. But time doesn't rewind. It only drags you forward through what you created. His cheating went on for more than 6 months. And it wasn't just one woman. I could tell. Different perfumes, different hair strands on his hoodie, different lipstick colors. One night it was a nude lip gloss print on his glass. Another time it was a bold red mark on his collarbone. And every time I confronted him, he gave me the same answer. "I didn't ask you to stop cheating when you were cheating," he'd say, voice flat. "So don't ask me to stop." I did stop. I'd cry. "The moment you found out, I stopped." He'd laugh, small and bitter. "You stopped because you got caught," he'd say. Then he'd add the line that haunted me. "I'll stop when I want to." One afternoon I couldn't take it anymore. I followed him. He left the house dressed too nice for the gym, clean shave, fresh cologne, fitted black shirt. He kissed my forehead, something he hadn't done in weeks, and my heart jumped stupidly. But I knew better. I waited 5 minutes, grabbed my keys, and drove behind him. My hands were sweating on the steering wheel. I kept a car's length between us, changing lanes when he changed lanes, feeling like my heart was going to leap out of my chest. He didn't go to the gym. He went across town to a restaurant with outdoor seating. I parked down the street and watched him walk in, watched him greet the hostess like he belonged there. Then I saw her. A woman in a red dress, hair pulled back, smiling wide when she saw him. She stood up, hugged him, and he kissed her cheek like it was natural, like he'd been doing it. My throat closed. I sat there gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers hurt. I watched them laugh, watched him lean in close, watched her touch his arm, watched my husband look at her the way he used to look at me. Something in me snapped. I got out of my car. I walked toward the restaurant like I wasn't shaking, like I wasn't about to embarrass myself in public, like I wasn't about to ruin my last shred of dignity. I stopped at the edge of the patio. Darius saw me first. His smile disappeared instantly. Her head turned. She looked confused. I stepped closer. "Lisa," Darius said, warning in his voice. "What are you doing here?" My eyes burned with tears, but my voice came out sharp. "So this is what you do now," I said. "You take her on dates?" The woman looked between us. "Who is she?" she asked him. Darius didn't even answer her first. He stood up slowly, eyes locked on me. "Go home," he said. I shook my head. "No, I'm not leaving until you tell me who she is." The woman's face tightened. "Darius?" He sighed like he was tired. Then he looked at her and said, "Give me a second." He walked toward me, grabbed my elbow, and pulled me away from the patio. His grip wasn't rough, but it was firm. "You're doing too much," he hissed. I yanked my arm back. "You're cheating on me." He stared at me. "And you cheated on me." Tears spilled down my face. "I said I was sorry, and I said I'd stop when I want," he replied, voice calm like he was explaining something simple. "You don't get to control how I heal." "This isn't healing," I cried. "This is punishment." He leaned in, eyes hard. "Good. Maybe you'll finally feel what I felt." I stood there shaking, hearing laughter and plates clinking behind us like the world didn't care. The woman was watching us now, eyes narrowed. I wiped my face, humiliation burning my skin. "Please," I whispered, voice breaking. "Please, Darius, just come home." He looked at me for a long second, and for half a second I thought he might soften. Then he said, "You should have begged Malik like this," and walked back to the patio. I stood there frozen while he sat back down with her like I was nothing, like I was a mistake he already moved past. I drove home numb. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the couch staring at my phone, refreshing his social media like it would give me answers. Then I started checking hers, because yes, I found her. I searched until I did. Women always find out. A tagged photo here, a friend list there, a comment under a gym post. Her name was Janelle. And she was beautiful. Not just pretty. Beautiful in that effortless way, like she didn't have to try. Her pictures were bright, her smile looked real. And the worst part? She looked happy. Like she didn't know she was standing in the ashes of my marriage. I started stalking her page every day, morning and night, watching her stories like a punishment, looking for any hint of Darius. One day she posted a dinner table, 2 plates, 2 glasses. My stomach dropped. Another day she posted a selfie in a car. I recognized the dashboard. That was my husband's car. I felt like I was choking. I messaged her once. I don't even know why. I wrote, "Do you know he's married?" Then I deleted it before she could respond. Because what would that do? It wouldn't bring him back. It would just make me look even more pathetic. But I couldn't stop. I started showing up at places he used to go. The gym, the grocery store, even the gas station near his job. I told myself it was coincidence. But I knew I was hunting him. One Saturday, I waited outside the gym in my car. Rain tapped on my windshield, light and steady. My hands were cold even with the heat on. After an hour, he walked out, not alone. Janelle was with him. She laughed at something he said, and he leaned down and kissed her, quick, casual, like it was normal. I gasped like I got punched. They got into his car and drove off, and I followed. I don't know what I thought I was going to do, I just couldn't sit with it. They went to an apartment building. Not my house, somewhere new. I parked across the street and watched them walk in, together. My chest hurt so bad I thought I might throw up. I sat there until my phone battery hit 10%. Then I drove home feeling like I wasn't even a person anymore, just a shadow. A few days later, Darius came home early. That never happened anymore. I was in the kitchen when I heard the door. I turned, surprised. He stood there with a small backpack in his hand. My heart jumped like it still believed in miracles. "Hey," I whispered. He didn't smile. He didn't even take his shoes off. He just looked at me and said, "We need to talk." My stomach dropped. I walked toward him slowly. "Okay." He set the backpack on the couch like he was placing a decision down. "I want a divorce," he said. The words didn't register at first. I blinked. "What?" "I'm done," he said. "I'm moving out." My knees went weak so fast I had to grab the counter. "No," I whispered. "No, Darius, please, please don't." He looked at me with tired eyes. "Lisa, I've been gone." I started crying immediately. Ugly crying. The kind that makes your chest hurt. I walked toward him, reaching for his hand, but he stepped back. "Please," I begged. "Please don't do this. We can fix it. We can go to counseling. We can start over." He shook his head. "You broke it, I know." I cried. "I know I did. But I've been trying." He cut me off. "Trying to what? Make me forget?" I choked on my sobs. "I love you." He stared at me for a long time. Then he said the sentence that finally ended me. "I found someone new," he said. "And it's getting serious." I froze. My mouth went dry. "Who?" He didn't say her name. But he didn't need to. I already knew. He continued, voice low and steady. "I feel like I'm in love again," he said. "And I don't want to mess that up by staying here and pretending we can go back." I walked toward him anyway. I dropped to my knees in front of him. Yes, I did. I grabbed his pants leg like I could physically keep him from leaving. "Please," I sobbed. "Please don't leave me. I'll do anything. Anything." He looked down at me, and his eyes didn't soften. Not like before. Not like my husband. More like a man who survived something and doesn't want to go back into the fire. "I did everything," he said quietly. "I was loyal. I was patient. I worked overtime for us. And you still chose him." I shook my head violently. "It was a mistake. I was selfish. I was stupid." He nodded once. "Yeah." Then he gently pulled his leg away from my hands. He stepped back, and I felt the emptiness hit like a wave. He walked to the door. I scrambled up and chased him, barefoot on the cold floor, tears falling down my cheeks. "Darius," I cried. "Please." He paused at the door and looked back. For a second, his face showed something. Not love, not mercy, just truth. "You offered me payback," he said, and I took it. My breath caught. He opened the door. Then he added, almost like an afterthought, "But the truth is, I didn't stop cheating because I was enjoying it." I froze. He looked at me, eyes steady. "I didn't stop because it was the only way I could feel something after you killed it." My whole body went cold. He stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind him with a soft click. No slam, no dramatic goodbye, just a quiet ending, and that quiet was the loudest thing I've ever heard. I stood there in the silence, staring at the door like it might open again if I believed hard enough. But it didn't. My phone buzzed in my hand. A notification, a random app alert, life continuing like nothing happened. And I realized something that still makes my stomach twist when I say it out loud. When I cheated, I thought I was chasing more attention, more excitement, more feeling. But all I really did was trade my real life for a temporary high. And when Darius turned into the man I begged for, confident, attractive, desired, he became that man for somebody else, not me. The twist isn't that he left. The twist is that by the time he left, I wasn't even fighting for love anymore. I was fighting for control, for the version of him I thought belonged to me. And that's the part that haunts me, late at night, when the house is quiet and my phone screen lights up my face for no reason. I didn't lose my husband the day he said divorce. I lost him the first night I chose Malik's text over my husband's. And everything after that was just the consequence catching up. If you're listening to this, and you're standing at the beginning of your own betrayal staircase, one step, then another, please hear me. The fall doesn't feel like falling at first. It feels like a tension. It feels like fun. It feels like just this once, until you wake up one morning, and the person you love is sitting on the couch holding your phone, and you realize you just taught them how to live without you. And when they finally do, you can't beg them back from a lesson you forced them to learn.